Hey guys, I'm Andy Reesmeyer. Welcome back to DweebCast. He's Star Killer, he's Doomsday, and a vampire with kind of a conscience. Ladies and gentlemen, Sam Witwer. Yeah. Thank you for hanging out with us today.
Thank you for having me.
So everybody wants to know, let's start with being human.
Sure.
Season 4, found out, kind of sad, it's gonna be the last one.
Yeah, and I wish they'd announced that a little bit earlier, because it sort of pulls a rug out from underneath the feet of the fans, whereas we knew this, we've known it for over a year.
Okay.
The whole story with that was that, I don't know how much I'm at liberty to say, but there was some weird stuff behind the scenes that had nothing to do really with ratings. And it really put us in a position where our budget was cut a little bit because Universal bought the show, right? And they weren't planning on buying the show, and so they said, we're gonna give you this much for it. And so we had to cut our budget a little bit, and we were going to do we were gonna do seasons 4 and 5, and when the budget went down, we kind of, the creatives, everyone, me, we all said, look, we can give you one more good season like this. A 5th would be a disaster. So we just don't have the money.
Right, you knew a while back that it was sort of...
We did, because under those circumstances, we asked, we're like, look, can we just finish it off with 4? Because we can give you a good 4. We can't do a good 5, you know? It's just, at that point, we'd be out of money, and, you know, like, our parents would be guesting on the show, basically.
Which actually might be kind of cool. I don't know.
Well, you know, it might be. The thing is that, you know, it's being human was always a very modestly budgeted show, hugely. And it always required us to, you know, call in favors and do stuff that isn't normally done on a television show to make it work, for example. I mean, like you were
a man in the cameras when everybody else was on.
Oh, sure. I'm not even kidding you. No, really? I've actually gone off to, like, we need this, we don't have time, we certainly can't go over time. Sam, can you go over there with the camera crew and shoot this scene with the actor?
But that's kind of cool, right?
Which is great. I mean, the thing is these are a lot of the reasons why actors, directors, producers like to do like independent film, because when you have a smaller budget, you have to, you have to improvise a lot more. But there's a lot more creative freedom in that, and there's a lot more excitement.
Right.
So it was always an exciting set, but it was a set in which you'd go home and you'd have to be putting up an actor in your house.
Right.
So, you know, which is kind of a great thing if you like the actor.
Sure, but if it's somebody who you're not really into. Now, speaking of them, is everybody kind of sad about it? I mean, obviously jobs come and go and all.
Well, we knew all about it. Like I said, we asked for this, so we knew about it. We are now having to remind ourselves that the fans didn't know. So we're just like, okay, let's try to be sensitive to them. But for us, we've been planning for this for a while. So this entire season, it isn't like, oh, they were canceled and they have 3 episodes that wrap it up. No, this entire season is a wrap up, whether the fans knew it or not. It was always conceived to be a wrap up. And we'd ask them, like, you know, the decent thing to do is to tell them before the season airs, but you know, I will say this, I'll give them the credit for letting them finish it on our terms, because they very well, because I guess the ratings are up this year, and they very well could have commissioned a 5th season, and we would have been required to do it, and that wouldn't have been the best for the show.
Now you look at shows also like Arrested Development, Futurama, Family Guy, that have these sort of built-in audiences, these niche audiences that are really dedicated. And I think you could probably say that Being Human has a super dedicated fan base.
Yes, they are dedicated.
So, you know, getting canceled isn't really, you know, like it used to be, where it was like, when you're done forever. Do you have any hope that, you know, you'll bring it back? Or
you should
is it like,
see the end of this show. You can't really bring it back after the end of the show.
Are you dropping a big old exclusive here?
I'm not dropping an exclusive. I'm just saying that if you're going to finish a show right, you shouldn't be able to continue the show.
So that's
that was the big worry. In fact, we had a lot of talks this year. We're like, if they want a 5th season, how do we do it? Because we have made some very specific, definite, no turning back moves in this season.
Are you getting a sex change? Is that happening?
Yeah, my character is a transsexual this year. He's a Transylvanian transsexual vampire. But yeah, in all seriousness, you know, I've been saying for a while in the interviews, and now maybe people know what I mean, we wreck the car this year. You know, every television show, you know, you take the car out for a spin, and maybe it gets a few dings, and you put it back in the garage and wait for next season. Well, we don't do that. We smash the car all over the neighborhood. There's pieces of it in the street, and then we blow up the garage.
Wow. So that's an incredibly visual and graphic metaphor.
Oh, it is. It is. By the end of it, I mean, it's, you know, like I said,
supernatural body parts.
There were things that we did in this season that Sci-Fi wouldn't let us do in other seasons.
Really?
And they haven't happened yet.
Well, because they can't cancel you.
Well, that's it.
It's like, well, what are they going to do?
Well, you know, they were concerned. There were things that we wanted to do with the show They said, well, if you do that, that really changes a lot of stuff. It makes it more problematic for later seasons. And so this season, we're like, well, we're going to do them all now.
Right. And so far, the show's been really good about fan service and about like catering to this group of people who are so dedicated to it. When we wrap up the show, do you think it's more of that? Do you think it's like we're really doing justice to like these people who have stuck with you since the beginning?
I think so.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I think so. I mean, there's even these episodes we're doing now where we go back to the first season, but it's an alternate first season. It's sort of a Back to the Future 2 version of the first season. And
love it.
And it's, it is very much for the fans who've stuck with us all those years, because they are now seeing these events that they remember playing out differently, and characters that have been long dead and all that stuff. But the fun thing is that this does actually have something to do with the main plot of the story, and it will leave us in a different place by the end when it is all said and done. It's not one of those things where you just do it, hit a reset button, and it's like it never happened.
Right.
This has major implications to what happens for the rest of the season.
You're notorious. Maybe notorious isn't the right word. Legendary for live tweeting along with the episodes.
These last few episodes have not been my best live tweets, but I do show up.
You have to get in the mood. You light some candles, like, turn the lights out.
Yeah, it just depends on how distracted I am at any given moment. If I have a guest over, it's really hard to live tweet.
Do you feel at all like a bizarre sort of like meta experience of watching yourself and then commenting on yourself, watching yourself on the show, and this sort of? I
hate watching myself. I mean, I feel like the live tweeting experience is just like MST3King my own show. just making fun of what it is that we're doing, and which I always think.
Did your producers have an issue with that?
No. They, the producers are crazy. These people are insane.
You have to be working TV.
Yeah, they're right, but they're happy so long as the fans have an incentive to tune in live. They were going to do like a Google Hangout during our premiere. And I said, well, then let me ask you a question. What are they going to be watching?
Yeah, exactly.
Are they watching us watching us watching? I mean, come on, guys. It's a TV show. Can we at least pretend like people are going to pay attention?
Well, the whole thing, too, is like, especially now the networks are like, well, internet's important. We got to figure out a way to include that into our medium. So let's make it relevant. But I think that, look, what you're doing is at least like a sort of natural human way to incorporate people and to sort of like see
just a message every now and then. Twitter's kind of perfect for that,
for sure.
And it is really, actually, it used to be torturous, but now it's actually kind of a good time to see what the fans' reaction is.
You ever get in trouble?
I always go right to the edge of trouble. I was, right there, right at the line, and then I don't cross that line. And if I do, I delete the tweet right away before anyone sees it.
They save them forever though. The Library of Congress saves every tweet you've ever done, even if you deleted it.
Wow,
you better watch out.
I'm really screwed.
I know. Special thanks to Sam Witwer. I'm Andy Reesmeyer. This is DweebCast. Thanks for watching.